All right, welcome back, everyone. I really appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the support, and welcome back. This is going to be another live stream. I've been trying to do this as much as I can, mainly because they're a lot of fun, but also it gives me a chance to connect with a lot of you guys out there, and I really, really enjoy that. If you're watching live, awesome. If you're gonna watch it later on, hey, I really appreciate the support. Remember to like, share, and subscribe because I'm gonna continue to put videos, and I'm gonna continue to do this because again, I enjoy it. So I appreciate the support. So I'm going to try to answer a question that I get here in the channel a lot. And it has to do with military police, and it has to do with correctionals and how do you get to the military police field. If some of you guys that don't know, I'm going to explain that. I'm going to tell you what I think based on my experience, not so much based on the recruiting section. Remember, the recruiters are trying to recruit you. So they're going to tell you whatever they have to tell you in order to recruit you. That's what they do. Again, I really appreciate that. Let me make sure I open the comments up here just to anybody that put comments. I'm going to be able to answer that. So again, if you're watching out there, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Put comments in the comment section. And after I explain this and the things that I'm going to cover, I'm going to probably answer some questions if I get questions or not. So again, I appreciate it. Now, before I get into the whole video, I'm going to give a shout out to, and let me share my screen here. I'm going to be giving a shout out to, there we go, share. Okay, so I'm going to give a shout out to Kenny Parnell. And if you're not aware, I got a Patreon account, and this is a place where some of you guys can donate money to the channel. He is my first $10 pledge. So again, he's donating $10 to the channel, and that's awesome, man. I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate the support. So again, he donates to the channel, and that's awesome. Really appreciate it. If you want to be a patron, you could just go into the description box and then click on the link and all that stuff and follow the instructions. But again, I got a couple of perks in there. I got one of the perks is a private Google Plus community where you're going to be able to ask questions and things like that, and we could connect a little bit better. But again, really appreciate that. If you're not a patron, don't sweat it. You can continue to like, share, subscribe, put comments. I mean, that's just amazing, and I really appreciate that. So here's the deal. I'm going to talk about this because, like I say, a lot of you guys been asking questions about this. The MPMOS is one of those MOSs that a lot of people hate. I mean, people hate military police. People hate police officers generally. Some people like them. I'm one of those guys that I think they're doing an amazing job. But ultimately, a lot of people don't like the law enforcement side of the house. And typically the guys that don't like it is guys that have been in trouble. That's how it is. When you hear somebody saying, oh, I hate the MPs, typically it's a Marine that got in trouble. That's just typically how it goes. But anyways, a lot of you guys want to be MPs. And the deal with this is that you probably, or not probably, you probably going to, here we go saying probably again, but you're going to join the Marine Corps as a 5800. And 5800 means that you are a military police / correctional officer. And a lot of you guys want to be MPs and you know, you get promised the MPMOS, but the reality is that once you finish boot camp and once you finish MCT, some of you guys may be correctional officers. And some of you guys are just going to hate it. But again, that's just how it is. That's how the Marine Corps has to set it up. And it's pretty much the needs of the Marine Corps. So if your recruiter tells you, hey, you're going to be an MP, the reality is that you don't know that. He doesn't know that. You're going to join as a 5800 again, and you're going to be an MP or you're going to be a correctional officer. Now, I got an email from one of you guys, and definitely appreciate your emails and all the communications that you guys have. But he asked me this question, and not only him, a lot of people ask me this question. So I figure I'm going to do this video. I'm going to explain this. And like that, you know, I could refer people to this video. So again, You're going to join as a 5800, and you're going to be either a police officer, military police, or you're going to be a correctional officer. So how do you pick that? I mean, how do they decide that? Again, it's going to be the Marine Corps' need. So you're going to finish boot camp. You're going to go to MCT. And once you finish MCT, and this is what happened to me, it happens to everyone, you're going to get orders. And your orders are going to be for the schoolhouse. So either you're going to go to Fort Leonard Wood, which is military police school, or you're going to go to Texas, which I don't remember the base, but you're going to go into Texas, and that's going to be where the correctional school is going to be. So a lot of guys is I'm telling you, is a big surprise to a few of myself and a few of my friends that were thinking they were going to be MPs, and next thing you know, they got orders to Texas, and they're like, hey, what's going on here? Comes to find out that the Marine Corps decided that they're going to be correctional officers. So now, again, I said you join as a 5800. If you actually become a police officer, military police, you're going to be a 5811. If you go into the correctional officer side, so correctional specialist, I think is the proper occupation. Excuse me, it's going to be 5831. So keep that in mind. So, when you do your research and when you start looking for information, actually the occupation number. Typically the first two is going to be that field. And the last two of that number is going to be your actually occupation. So again, 5800 meaning military police / correctional specialist. And then 11 will be military police. 31 will be correctional specialist. So a little bit different than the Army. I know the Army has, like 11 Bravos or something like that. Not sure with the Navy. Not sure how those guys allocate that. But again, one of the questions regarding the same guy who wrote me the email was like, okay, so if you become a correctional officer, do you do combat operations? And the reality is that the mission is always going to change. There's always going to be different missions out there. And you got to remember one thing. A Marine is a rifleman. So even though your occupation may be something else, you can always find yourself in a firefight. You can always find yourself in any type of military operation. And big shout out to everybody watching. I wish Big Johnson said if I get sponsored by Coke Zero, I wish, man. I just like Coke Zero. But probably not the best for you, but it is what it is. So again, let me tell you about this. So 5831, like I say, you can find yourself in doing combat operations in any type of capacity. A lot of times they need bodies, and they will be like, hey, look, I need a sergeant. Hey, look, I need a lance corporal. And no matter what occupation is going to be, and you may find yourself doing that kind of job. It could be anything from working in the main combat operations center or something like that. So it's kind of difficult for us to say that you're never going to deploy, because not only you could deploy in your capacity as your occupation, but you could also deploy to combat operation as a regular Marine to fill in a specific billet. So if you're scared to be deployed, or not scared, maybe worry to be deployed, I would tell you not to join the military, because there is a chance that you may go on deployment. So again, big shout out to Sonny out there. Big shout out to Miller. Appreciate you guys watching. So again, to answer that question, I got to tell you, I experienced, or I saw a bunch of 5831 correctional specialists deploying, but typically the guys that deployed it were more into the higher ranks. Guys that were sergeants, staff sergeants, gunnery sergeants, and they're more likely to deploy in some type of advisor occupation or advisor mission, where you go into Afghanistan and now you are, advising the infantry how to run a detention facility. Obviously you're going to be a subject matter expert in that type of operation, so you could advise them how to properly run a detention facility. Again, you're going to have to be a higher rank to do that, because obviously to be a subject matter expert, you have to be in the Marine Corps a little bit, not like 2 months. I mean, probably you being in the course, in the Marine Corps for a few years by then. So again, I got to tell you guys, there is a chance that you may get deployed as a correctional specialist, but ultimately, it's not really a job that is really deployable too much. You got to figure, if you work at a jail, you're going to be dealing with Marines that have committed crimes. Believe it or not, Marines do all kind of dumb stuff, rapes, larceny, killings. I mean, you name it. So you're going to be dealing with those guys, and you're going to be, doing pretty much what civilian detention officers do, babysit them as they serve their time. And typically you're going to do that in this side of the house, in this country, not really in a deployer capacity. But again, there is a chance that you may get deployed. Now, got to tell you, if you go in the 5811 side, you got to go in the 5811 side. And before I get to this, I got to tell you, going back to the deployments, if you're scared to deploy, like I said, don't join. You need to understand that deployments are part of getting promoted. So obviously, Lance Corporal, Corporal, Sergeant, but when you get to the Staff Sergeant level, the level where, the last rank that I got promoted to, Staff Sergeant, if you haven't been deployed, you're not going to be as competitive as you can to get that next rank. Now, for Staff Sergeant, you're actually going to go into a board where a bunch of EAs and E9s, Master Guns, Master Sergeants, First Sergeants and Sergeant Majors are going to review your package and decide if you are eligible for promotion. So again, if you don't have that deployment and those combat operations, you're not going to be you're not going to be really good to deploy. I mean, really good to get promoted. You're going to compete with a guy that been deployed several times in combat operations. Who do you think is going to get promoted? That's why a lot of guys want to deploy. So again, big shout out to everybody watching out there. But let me get into 5811. Again, some of the people ask, military police, is it a deployable occupation? And the reality is that it is really an MOS that your chances to deploy are pretty high. I mean, even to the fact that a lot of military police jobs are given to civilians nowadays. The Marine Corps, if you go to a Marine Corps base, a lot of those guys doing military police are civilians. Mainly because MPs are being deployed to combat operation. You find yourself doing missions such as dismounted patrol, mounted patrol, protective service detail, area security. So you're gonna find yourself doing a lot of combat operation missions, or a lot of missions that are related straight off to combat. Obviously, a lot of the infantry guys are going to do more of the seeking out the enemy and destroying the enemy. But don't think as a military police you're not going to find yourself in that type of occupation or in that type of mission as well. You may find yourself doing that as well. So again, if you happen to be an MP, most likely you're either going to be in a field side, which again is going to be doing combat operations, or you're going to be in the law enforcement side, which now you're looking at a patrol car, responding to domestics and responding to all that stuff. So I got to tell you guys, every Marine, to finish this, mainly the point that you need to get out of this video is that you're going to join as a 5800. The Marine Corps is going to decide if you're going to be a specialist, a correctional specialist, or military police, and you're not going to have anything to say about it. And if you join the service, you better get used to it, because that's how it is. You may show up one day to work and your boss is going to tell you, hey, guess what? You going to California, and now you're packing your bag and packing your family and you going to California. That's just how it is. You're going to Hawaii, and that's how it is. And a lot of times you're not going to even have a chance to fight that. You may come from a deployment and they may tell you, hey, 6 months later, you go into a different deployment. And that's just how it is. And you won't have much to say about that. You know, you could complain all you want. You could tell people, well, I just came back from a deployment, but the reality is that the Marine Corps doesn't care. The Marine Corps is about mission accomplished, and they're going to do what they have to do. And if that requires then that you're never going to see your family, they truly don't care. They're going to take care of business. That's what they do. So that's why it is a sacrifice. So, anyways, appreciate some of you guys watching out there. You know, some of you guys, I hope I answered some of the questions that you guys had. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comments now, and I'm going to try to answer some of those questions. But I truly hope that I answer. I truly hope that I answer your questions. Don't depend so much on the recruiters. The recruiters are trying to recruit you. That's what they do, and they may be trying to get you based on, believe it or not, demographics. I mean, sometimes they need to collect, or they need to recruit a specific guy and a specific person, sex, and a specific race, and everything. So don't think it's based on all that stuff. So don't think they are your best friend. They're doing a job, and they do a really good job about it. And sometimes, believe it or not, sometimes they're gonna promise you things that then you realize that they weren't true. So so that's just how it is. So all right, so let me look at some of these comments over here. Big Johnson said recruiters want numbers. Obviously, one thing that you got to remember about recruiters is that recruiting is a B billet. So if you want to go into, again, ranks like staff sergeant, if you have a recruiting B billet, if you have that billet in your career, you are highly promotable. I mean, people are going to look at you and they're going to think that you are great and you're going to get promoted. So people go into recruiting because they want to get promoted, not because they want to do it. So if, like me, for example, picked up staff sergeant, to go into the next rank, gunnery sergeant, before I got medically retired, my next step on my career after 11 years was to be a recruiter, because I wanted to get promoted. Without that, promoting would have been difficult. So a lot of those guys, again, they are under stress because if you don't make it as a recruiter, your career is done. You will never get promoted again. So do you recommend joining as an officer or enlisted? Well, that's the question that everybody talks about it. Now, first of all, I met really good officers, excellent officers. I mean, guys that were square away. Obviously, if you join as not as an officer, you're gonna go through the hard trouble. You're gonna be the guy cleaning bathrooms, cleaning this, cleaning that, doing watch, and just hating your life. But as you grow up in rank, you always get that respect. You know, Marines always respect you. Officers have college degrees, so they're coming as supervisors, and it doesn't really make too much sense. But you have a guy that just joined the Marine Corps, and now he's in charge of 30 guys. So again, that guy barely knows anything. But that's where staff NCOs, staff sergeants and above, come to play to teach that officer how to be a Marine and teach him how to be a boss. So that's one of the missions that staff NCOs get, is to teach officers. But obviously, if you join as a Marine, you're gonna hate, as an enlisted Marine, you're gonna hate life. If you join as an officer, it's gonna be a little bit more easier, and you're gonna make more money. So again, an officer that being in the Marine Corps 6 months makes the same amount of money of staff sergeant that being in the Marine Corps 10 years, or maybe more. Who knows? So officer obviously is better. All right, so Sam said his recruiter said he was able to pick up 5811. I got to tell you, I retired from the Marine Corps in 2013 August. So again, it's been 2.5 years. So anything could have changed in that time. Not saying that the guy is a liar or lying to you. But I'm telling you my experience. I'm telling you how it is. Many correctional specialists were told that they were going to be 5811. Actually, military police always call 5831 correctional specialist want to be. So if you ever hang around with some of those guys, they always say, "Oh, you want to be MP, you just didn't make it," based on what I'm explaining to you guys down here. So again, as far as I know, as far as I experienced, many guys that were told they were going to be 5811s, they end up being 5831. So, but here's the deal: if he says that, make sure it's in the contract, not a 5800 MOS, 5811 military police. So make sure it's in your contract, and if it's in your contract, I will actually think that maybe it's right. No matter what they tell you, if it's not in your contract, it's not true. Because once you leave the recruiting to go to boot camp and you finish boot camp, you're a Marine, and something that were promised to you that it wasn't done. You could complain all you want, but the Marine Corps is going to tell you that they don't care. Suck it up, and whatever. That's pretty much what they're going to tell you because it was not in your contract. So, yeah, you're right. Officers, reading some of the comments here, officers do catch a lot of stuff. And like I said, by no means I'm bashing officers. I work with officers that were excellent and they did outstanding things. So a lot of Marines that talk a lot of crap about officers is because they never work with good officers, and I did. So I think they do have a purpose, and but the reality is that they do catch a lot of stuff, and typically it is because the staff and CO, and I'm going to blame the Marines, that enlisted Marines, the staff and CO that is supposed to teach him how to be a good officer didn't do his job right. So when you see an officer having issues, it's a total failure on the enlisted Marine staff and COs. That's just my opinion on that. Special pays are done based on your mission where you are. Obviously, if you go to a combat location, you're gonna get combat pay. I gotta tell you, when they're shooting at you and bombs are going off, those $200-300, whatever they give you, they're not gonna value anything. But obviously, combat pay, separation pay. You got basic allowances. Base housing allowances, BAH. You have separation pay. I don't know if I said that one yet, but you have C pay. When I went out on 22nd Mew, we went out on the USS Kearsarge. We got paid C pay. And again, there's a lot of special pays that you get. When I went to Okinawa, Japan, I got paid COLA. Excuse me, which was about I want to say $500 or something like that. Some of the pays that you get are based on rank as well, specifically BAH, the money that they gave you to stay out, outside the base. Obviously, staff sergeants got paid a little bit more than sergeants. Typically it was like $100 something more, something like that. School, if you're thinking about military police school, I went to school. I want to say June of 2002. So I think it was 12 weeks or something like that. But the thing is that it's going to take you a little bit sometimes is that you have to wait for the next class. So you may finish boot camp, you may go to MCT, and may take 2 weeks before the class picked up. So right there, you were delayed at 2 weeks. Then you may go to military police school, and it could be 2-3 weeks before the next class starts. So you're going to be in something, I think they call it forming platoon or something like that, where you're just chilling and cleaning rooms and cleaning this and cleaning that into the class actually starts. So you for being married, being married, the thing that you rate about being married, first of all, you rate something called comrades, something like that, I forgot now, but it's pretty much money to buy food. And if I'm thinking correctly, it was maybe about 200 something, 300 something dollars, maybe different now. Not only married, if you're a Marine that work maybe 9 times a day or something crazy, some type of a schedule that doesn't allow you to go to the shot hall to get some food, that you may get that pay as well. You do get that, and you do get the BAH. So essentially, if there's no housing in the housing base, you may get to stay off base and get paid that. Now, if you're a single Marine, typically the Marine Corps doesn't really allow you to stay off base. They want you to stay in the barracks. Sometimes when you pick up the rank of sergeant, they do let you stay outside, and you may get that as well. But being married, you automatically kind of rated. So, um, all right, G goes. Thanks for watching, brother. I appreciate it. We're about to end this up. If you got any questions, put them there. Because I'm coming up to, let's see, we're coming up to checking the time. I don't even know what time it is. But anyways, we've been doing this for a while. So if you have any questions, put in there, and I try to answer your questions as best as I can. Just keep in mind that I've been out of the Marine Corps for quite some time. So yeah. I'm Miller. Sucks, man, that you had some type of injury. I mean, I had a there we go, 22-28. Thanks, man. I can always count with you guys. Yeah, I tried to do one, I haven't been able to do any I haven't been able to do any live streaming just because life is being really busy. Lately I've done Sun, which I enjoy to do because first of all, it gives me a chance to talk to you guys here in the comments, and it's just fun. But again, life gets in the way sometimes. Now, if you yeah, a lot of guys, just keep in mind this. This is an interesting question. Some guys like, hey, can you do an MP after being an infantry contract? The Marine Corps is going to train you to do a specific MOS, and it's going to cost them a ton of money. I mean, they're going to pay a ton of money for you guys to train on that MOS. Now, when you finish your 4 years, you may have the choice to re-enlist and go into a different MOS. Now, a couple of things that I would tell you need to be careful. First of all, if you re-enlist and go in a different MOS, now you're looking probably about corporal, or you're a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and you're going into an occupation that you are supposed to be kind of like a subject matter expert, and you don't know anything about it. So you're going to face that situation. Also, the biggest thing is obviously the Marine Corps is going to have to approve the fact that you're going to lab move into a different MOS. But the biggest thing that I would tell you is the promotion. Some occupations are really hard to get promoted to staff sergeant. That's why you see guys that have been in the Marine Corps 6 years and staff sergeants, and guys that have been in the Marine Corps 11 years and just picked up staff sergeant. It's not the fact that that guy is a bad Marine. It is the fact that those jobs are extremely hard to get promoted. Now, I picked up corporal maybe about 3 years and 2 months, and I picked up meritoriously, meaning that I went into a board and I won. I was selected from my company to get promoted to that rank. Then picked up sergeant about almost 5 years, and I picked up staff sergeant close to 9 years in the Marine Corps. That was pretty fast to my job. But again, I know guys that 6 years in the Marine Corps, they were already staff sergeants. So by the time that I picked up E6, they were already looking at E7. It would have taken me an additional 5 years to pick up E7. By that time, those guys are EA. Again, same caliber of Marine, but promotions are extremely easy in those occupations. So a lot of guys lab move to get promoted. So again, if you're in a job that doesn't get promoted and you want to move into communication, especially the regular guys, now the computer guys or the wire guys, the regular guys that deal with communication, they get promoted really fast. So some guys may do that. So that may be good. So if you lab move into a different job, obviously you're going to have to get approved by the Marine Corps. But keep in mind promotions. You don't want to move into a job that doesn't get promoted. But if you do 4 years in the Marine Corps, by that time, trust me, you don't need you don't need JH6 help or guidance. You're gonna have a bunch of dudes there that they know what they're doing. You already know what you're doing. You're already very experienced, and you're gonna be able to make great decisions without my guidance or my job, or not my job, my input. There we go. All right, let's see. Here's the thing about officers. Let me add up this about officers because one of you guys asked. From enlisted Marine, you could go into officers. Typically, either you get a college degree, and then there's a couple of programs that you could go into. One of them was called ECP, which was Enlisted Commission Program, something like that. The Marine Corps actually send you out there for 3 years to get a college degree and actually become an officer. So if you want to be an officer and you don't have a college degree, what you can do is that you could join just regular, Marine Corps, regular stuff, regular Marine, and then you could apply for some of those programs. There's typically requirements like you have to have college credits and things like that. But there's things out there that you could do. Uh, you could just, get a college degree, and then it will be a little bit easier. I finished my associate's degree in the Marine Corps, and when I got out of the Marine Corps, I want to say I was like a year out. I got a bachelor's right now, so you could do college while you're in school. And with a radio recon. All right, so let me see. Let me get one last question here. I've never worked with Canadians MPs. Look, 18 joining local reserve. Yeah, I mean, when you go in deployments, you're gonna see the NATO forces there. So it's people from multiple different locations, multiple different places, countries. A lot of the British guys are there and things like that, and you do work together with some of those guys. Me personally, never had that chance. But again, don't peel potatoes much. All right, so big shout out to everybody watching out there. I really, really appreciate you guys watching. Really, really appreciate the support to the channel. I may be able to do another live stream. I think I may be able to start doing some on Wednesdays around 9:30 Eastern time. I may be able to if I got the time. I hate to be like one of those guys that say, "Oh, I can't do this because I don't have time." You see a lot of YouTubers doing that stuff. I don't answer your comments because I don't have the time or something like that. But the reality is that work, church, family, there's a lot of things going on. So that's why I haven't commit to do one at a specific day and a specific time, because I just don't want to say I'm going to be here at this time and you guys take the time to watch it and then I don't show up. I think I know my wife tells me all the time that we need to respect people's time because time is precious. It's your time. So again, that's why I haven't committed to a specific time and a specific day. But whenever we have the chance, I jump up here, answer some of your comments, and we spend some time and we talk about things. So that's just how it is. So again, appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Big shout out to everybody that supported the channel, liking, sharing, subscribing. Big shout out to the Patreon guys as well. Again, I appreciate all the support, guys. I'm got a bunch of videos coming out this week. I got the TLR6 that I want to put in the Glock 42 and show it to you guys. And I got a couple of other things coming up here in the channel to talk about. And hopefully we're going to continue to do this because we really enjoy it. So again, appreciate you guys watching. And as always, God is in control.